Apex predators. That is what you are looking at. Societies do not advance organically. They are dragged forward by fiercely competitive tycoons. Inside the guarded ecosystems of Nigeria's mega-rich sit the undisputed power brokers of the African continent. Wealth here is being consolidated daily. How exactly do these tycoons make their money? How do they navigate a highly volatile political landscape to keep it? And how are they shaping the future of both Nigeria and the broader continent? Capital equates to political power. In systems burdened with fragile institutions, that leverage pools rapidly in private hands. That dynamic is defining and occasionally very dangerous. Welcome to Nigeria, Africa's largest economy and the most populous black nation on earth. This is the ultimate hustle. You're looking at billionaires who forged massive empires across cement, telecommunications, oil, and banking. Their origin is uniform, a brutal, relentless drive to capture a frontier market. Riding the waves of privatization, absolute resource control, and aggressive technological rollout is the core of the Nigerian tycoon story. The architecture of this wealth was drafted decades ago. The late 1980s and 90s brought structural adjustment programs and a chaotic transition from military dictatorships to civilian rule. This fracture birthed the Nigerian oligarchy. State assets were privatized, and those allied closely to the political elite had the inside track. Massive wealth in Nigeria cannot be divorced from political patronage. True oligarchs secured massive oil blocks, exclusive import licenses, and favorable government waivers. This ascent from obscurity to immense wealth is the essence of the Nigerian dream. Hustle hard enough, know the right people, and the sky is the limit. Consider Mike Adenuga. He anchored his early fortune in oil, but telecommunications made him a household name. When the telecom sector deregulated in the early 2000s, Adenuga launched Globacom. He went to war with foreign giants by introducing per-second billing, a move that captured the loyalty of the Nigerian masses. He proved that understanding local, street-level economic realities could yield billions. Yet operating in oil and telecommunications means operating at the mercy of federal regulators. Adenuga's survival and expansion are secured by a quiet, formidable presence in campaign finance. By channeling dark money into the political machinery of key figures, often leveraging offshore structures to maintain absolute anonymity, he guarantees that his oil block licenses are perpetually renewed and that telecom regulations remain highly favorable to Globacom's expansion. As the economy modernized, a new breed emerged, the financial engineers. Following the 2004 banking consolidation, visionaries like Tony Elumelu and Jim Ovia saw the matrix. They realized capital could be aggressively moved and multiplied. Elumelu transformed a struggling local bank into the United Bank of Africa, a Pan-African behemoth. Financial engineers understand that the ultimate client is the state. During high-stakes elections, the banking sector is the invisible hand that provides the critical liquidity needed for nationwide campaigns. By structuring political funds, offering massive under-the-table credit lines to political godfathers, and managing the complex flow of campaign money, these bankers ensure they are first in line to manage lucrative government accounts, state-backed debt, and pension funds once their chosen candidates take office. They fund the kingmakers to become the kings of capital. Today, Elumelu pushes Africapitalism. The philosophy is blunt. The African private sector possesses the power to transform the continent through long-term investments. He asserts that nobody will develop Africa except Africans, and they must take the lead in investing in their own future. This entire architecture of proxy companies, dark money, and absolute political protection draws intense criticism. The Godfather system works perfectly for the oligarchs at the top, but it inherently consolidates overwhelming wealth for a select few, locking out everyday entrepreneurs and actively stifling true market competition. Yet, just as this old guard appears invincible, a new technological revolution is beginning to bypass these traditional gatekeepers entirely. The digital age birthed the Nigerian tech tycoon. Old billionaires relied on oil blocks and government licenses. New millionaires and billionaires rely on code, the internet, and smartphones. Look at the founders driving fintech machines like Paystack and Flutterwave. They engineered billion-dollar valuations simply by solving Nigeria's massive payment friction. They didn't need government waivers. They just needed to write software enabling young Nigerians to transact globally. This generation is disruptive, globally connected, and largely independent of the old political guard. Simultaneously, social media has granted unprecedented power to entertainers and influencers. Just as the Kardashians leveraged reality television, Nigerian bloggers, influencers, and Afrobeats artists have converted their cultural capital into massive business empires. Culture is now proving to be one of Nigeria's most lucrative exports. But above all of them, the oilmen, the financial engineers, the tech founders, the cultural architects, sits one figure who didn't just play the system, he mastered it, every layer of it simultaneously, and built something the continent had never seen before. At the absolute peak of this pyramid sits Aliko Dangote. No one in the history of Forbes tracking African billionaires has been worth as much as him. The sheer scale of his capital is staggering. He calculated risks that would ruin standard operators. He pivoted from simply importing commodities like sugar and flour to manufacturing them locally. The raw frontier opportunity provided by Nigeria in the 1990s and 2000s would not be found in most other societies. Look at the board now. His conglomerate possesses total dominion over the continent's cement sector. Now he's targeting an IPO worth approximately $50 billion on his mega refinery located in Lagos. The objective is to annihilate the country's dependence on imported fuel and create wealth. But that scale of dominion requires an ironclad political shield. To protect his monopolies, Dangote's empire relies on proximity to the presidency. The secret to this continued dominance lies in election cycles. By quietly and heavily backing winning presidential tickets, he ensures the system works for him. In return for campaign war chests, the state deploys its ultimate weapon: policy. Sudden border closures against competitors and prohibitive import tariffs are enacted to lock out foreign competition, keeping his market share untouched. He's Nigeria's equivalent to John D. Rockefeller. He understood the core equation of empire. Controlling the foundational building blocks of a nation means controlling its future. The Nigerian dream casts a dark shadow. Public perception of the billionaire class is highly polarized. They are lauded as job creators and symbols of black excellence. Simultaneously, the sheer size of their fortunes triggers deep unrest in a nation where over 130 million people live in multidimensional poverty. The society is incredibly unequal. Wealth disparities are obvious everywhere you look. People buy luxury penthouses in Dubai, while millions back home can't afford basic health care. The masses will accept inequality if they believe they have a chance to climb the ladder. But when monopolies and bad governance pull that ladder up, you get social unrest. Don't expect the government to step in and regulate this dynamic. The state and the oligarchs are too deeply intertwined. These tycoons, both the old guard and the new digital disruptors, will continue to steer Nigeria's trajectory. With an aggressive market of over 200 million people, boundless talent, and immense resources, the next wave of billionaires is already building their empires. The old kings used oil blocks and border closures. The new ones use code and internet access. The wealth will absolutely keep piling up at the very top.